Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 3, The Great War. The great build up to the war, with the gathering, everyone's last supper, the last moment, building up for this war that we've spent the entire show building up for. Some saying this war is one of the best wars they've ever seen in fiction history, some even matching it against Helm's Deep. But I found a lot of problems that I thought with their strategic battle plans that they were going on, and I'm going to go over each one that I thought that had a big flaw within it. A large problem I had, and a lot of other people probably as well too, is the Dothraki charging right in the beginning here. So right away they lose a good chunk of their army right here, just charging in. Their whole cavalry is gone, which should not. They should pull them back and have them on the sidelines. Once the front lines take the hits, the cavalry comes in for support on the side and gives them support. But instead they rush, they die, and they make the enemy stronger. And where's the artillery that's going on? They see them, they're firing them here. While their teammates are charging in, might I add, firing behind them, but then they hold the fire and they never fire them again. And you see why here. Is that their artillery out in front lines? So the artillery gets one shot, which should have been the game changer in the war. Then I was like, oh, they must have ran out of ammo. That's odd. Who only brings one shot into an artillery battle? But instead, they just put them in the front lines and got wrecked. They don't show them getting wrecked, but you never see them firing again, and they just show them in the front lines. And you don't see a single arrow being fired here to help. Not a single range support was here to be had. Maybe the saying was don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes, but their eyes were all blue, so they didn't shoot. And then they order Operation Retreat, which is fine, except they leave all of the Unsullied on the front lines, which is okay because they were meant to sacrifice themselves in this part for people to get to safety. But look there's so many people here, they didn't need that many people outside. A lot of these people in the back lines, they were doing nothing. Now there's a time consuming when they're trying to get it into the wall and then trap themselves, completely sacrificing themselves to make the enemy's army stronger, when they could have brought in a whole ton of them back and defended on the other side of this trap. This defensive position right here, so they brought enough back, a huge army, they could have set this defensive position up along the entire firewall. The army stopped, and not a single arrow to be seen to take any of them down. A huge game changer in war is knowing your choke points, which you literally just made a huge choke point. Later on, they make this fire bridge across the fire where they have one choke point, where they could have set up the Unsullied in a defensive line, a U position, and taken them out one by one as they tried to charge through. Naturally, they would have eventually broken through, but it would have easily thinned their numbers huge. Instead, I painfully watched them walk across, losing their advantage of here. You can really learn from the Spartans. Now they're out cavalry, artillery, and the choke point, which would have helped turn the tides of the war. But the archers finally start shooting. That's a plus, now that they're right on top of them. And when talking with people, I've also heard them say that Arya went from being a badass, kicking ass, and then all of a sudden she was just drops her weapon, runs around, and couldn't, like in the library, she couldn't fight back. But there's a reason. If you watch here, she clashes her head really hard, and you see that this has a game changer. This is when it changes for her. She can't really see straight now. She's suffering from the concussion, which is affecting her fighting ability. In the heat of the battle with a lot going on, a lot of people actually missed this scene. And this scene is a lot less revolved around battle tactics like the beginning part, but this is just a really dumb scene. The dragon must have forgotten that it knows how to fly. This was painful to watch as she just stared off and let them swarm the dragon, and it just runs around, forgets that it can breathe fire to blast at them, and forgets that it can fly. This scene was painful to watch. Speaking of dumb scenes, here's another one that bugged me. Sansa and Tyrion both had dragon glass, and sure enough, everyone knew what was going to happen down here. You've seen it from a mile away. But when the first one came out, they should have known what was going on and went over and stabbed them. One at a time as they broken out of the crypts, stabbed them, destroyed them, and they wouldn't have had a problem. Instead, they sit there and watch them till they're overrun, and then these two with the only weapons that can kill them run away and hide. And the last I'm seeing on my list, well, this one just had made absolutely no sense to me. I don't understand what they were getting at here or what was going on or the purpose of this whole scene. And here, they just know that they're fucked. And here, we're just going to end this video with the dragon fight scene for no other reason than it was an epic dragon fight scene. So what did you guys think of my theories and changes for the war? And how did you think that it played out? Let me know in the comments below, because I love getting into theories and debates and talking with people who are fans of the show and seeing what they think and their side of everything. I believe that they had their three big slip-ups. Losing their cavalry, losing their artillery, putting it out front instead of putting it back behind the walls and using it, and not utilizing archers to their fullest extent when they should have been the game changer. Those three things, and not clutching, having the choke point being able to have a defensive line built around their choke point. I felt that if they could have done these things, they could have greatly. They had someone slacking in the war commanding chamber room. For the next 3 weeks with the Game of Thrones, I'll be running before the show on Sunday a debate session where anyone who wants to jump in on twitch.tv/videogamejester, you can see me live and talk with me and share your own theories. And at the last episode of Game of Thrones, I'll be giving a Game of Thrones giveaway. So come chat with me live before the show, share your theories and debates, and get a chance to win something free.